Hey, everybody. For those of you who might not recognize me, I'm Santa Rick Irwin, Forbes chairman and co-host of Winternet, and I have some good news to share with you all. I hope you're familiar with Winternet, our fraternity's 3-year project to create an online cyber chapter for all those members and associates scattered around the country who might not yet have their own local Forbes chapter to get together with for lunch once a month. We spent most of 2021 testing attendance at various times of day and week, and by early 2022, with our newly elected board of directors looking around for shovel-ready projects to sink their metaphorical Santa teeth into, WinterNet was ready for prime time. In fact, two of this board's earliest votes were to approve a motion renewing our Zoom account for another full year to secure a discount, and to officially sanction WinterNet and authorize their use of that account. 2 years later, our little seedling is doing rather well. Thank you very much. WinterNet welcomes around 30 to 40 Santas and Mrs. Clauses to a pair of meetings each month, but being the local chapter for Claus homes in 4 time zones takes a little finesse. That's why we meet on the first Saturday of each month at 11 a.m. Pacific time and on the second Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern. Although I can tell you that we have received a few requests to move that up to 6 p.m. Eastern. And that's an accommodation which is practically guaranteed now, thanks to that bit of good news that I mentioned earlier. Since both our IRS designation and our charter with the California Secretary of State includes education among the services we pledge to provide to our members, for years now, we've worked hard to find newer and better ways to fulfill that promise, like when we added professional workshops and our Senior Santa seminar to the reunion, or when our local chapters host training sessions during their monthly meetings, or when we launched WinterNet as a local chapter for members who didn't have one. My friends, we're about to take our education mission to bold new heights. I've now got confirmation from the California University Board of Regents and a Harvard law professor that WinterNet can be expanded to include an online free Santa school for our members and associates, which, with a few stipulations, can do something that commercial Santa schools cannot: legally share copyright materials such as books and films. This means that in addition to our growing library of Santa training resources, Forbes can begin to use the actual movies and TV shows which have shaped the public image of Santa and Mrs. Claus over time. This will better prepare each of us for the expectations of various age groups regarding who Santa is, how he looks, what he wears, and whatever new Santa fact this year's blockbuster movie has made up, like Buddy the Elf's 4 main food groups. By the way, candy, candy canes, candy corn, and syrup. Or the secret that Santa's magic is actually in his hat. Or a sleigh bell only rings for people who believe in Santa. Now, all of these are things a modern Santa might be asked about, and each can best be learned by watching those original movies and TV shows. Plus, by watching them with other professional Santas, we'll get the educational benefit of each other's observations as well. Our white paper from the Board of Regents outlines the legal requirements for our class according to Harvard copyright professor Kyle Courtney, which, for the record, are: don't record that part of the session, only allow registered members and associates to access the session, and use a DVD or digital equivalent rather than a commercial streaming service. WinterNet can do all that. We're planning to continue our twice monthly WinterNet schedule, but expand it to include a free Santa school for Forbes members, which we're calling Winter Watch. I'll have a class itinerary and an initial media list ready for distribution later this week and hope to host the first class sometime in April. Right now, we're thinking of the first and third Sundays of the month at 3 p.m. on both days to reduce inconvenience to either coast. But of course, this can be adjusted later if necessary. If Forbes remains relevant for another 30 years, I believe that it will be due in no small part to WinterNet and now Winter Watch. I've prepared an online registration page for Forbes members and associates to sign up for the class, and their status must be confirmed before they'll be issued student ID codes. You'll find that link in the email which brought you here. So, in closing, I'd just like to thank you for supporting the original 501c dedicated to the professional Claus, who in turn hosts the Santa World's oldest annual event, which seems the perfect opportunity to invite you all to our 31st annual Santa reunion next January 24th through 26th at the Doubletree Golf Resort in Palm Springs, California. Perhaps the most breathtakingly beautiful location we've ever chosen. And our Friday excursion this year, we'll ride the world's most famous revolving aerial tram to the top of Mount San Jacinto and play in the snow for a while. Early registration should be available soon, and for more information as it becomes available, you should visit ForbesReunion.com. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you in class.